Hello and welcome to South Asia Diary with me, Mariam Wardak. Our cover story tonight is from Pakistan. The monsoon Furry has unleashed massive floods on the country. Almost 2/3 of Pakistan is submerged underwater. Nearly 33 million Pakistanis have been affected. The foreign minister is openly calling for assistance from abroad. The floods have also revealed the scale of the looming climate crisis. Pakistan contributed just 0.4% to global emissions, yet they are feeling the fallout of climate change. Tonight, we decode Pakistan's monsoon Furry. Also on the show,
a Maldivian research mission is diving 1,000 meters below the ocean to uncover deep sea mysteries. Bhutan is all set to deploy its first United Nations peacekeeping mission to the Central African Republic. The town of Bagram struggles to survive in the shadow of the once powerful US military base. Nepalese authorities are banning TikTokers from sacred sites. They say content creators have become a public nuisance.
Pakistan experienced 780% more rainfall than average this year. The excessive rainfall has flooded almost 2/3 of the country. Major infrastructure has been submerged underwater. Total losses? More than $10 billion, according to some estimates. Our next report details the monsoon Furry in Pakistan.
These are biblical scenes in Pakistan. Most of the country looks like one big river. It has wiped out everything in its path: houses, farms, roads, and bridges. The floods are unlike anything Pakistan has ever experienced. The signs were ominous in the months of April and May. Back then, Pakistan was reeling under an intense heat wave. That set the stage for this deluge. You see, warmer air retains a lot more moisture, around 7% more per degree Celsius. And when monsoons came, that moisture dropped to earth. The numbers are staggering. Pakistan received 780% more rainfall than normal. Some places got 14.8 inches of precipitation. That's 3 times the national average. The end result is this: almost 1/3 of Pakistan is flooded. Nearly 33 million people are affected. Almost 500,000 are living in temporary shelters. The Prime Minister himself was distributing aid.
And I can say without any fear of contradiction that this flood situation is probably the worst in the history of Pakistan. The damage to our infrastructure is very vast and is spread all over Pakistan.
These pictures reveal the scale of destruction. Most houses are partially submerged in water. Agricultural fields are completely destroyed. In the Sindh province, 40% of the cotton crop is gone, wiped out by the floodwater. Pakistan's planning minister put the total losses at $10 billion.
I think it's going to be huge. So far, very early preliminary estimate is that it is big. It is higher than $10 billion to very early estimate, very rough estimate. But our joint survey teams comprising of NDMA, PDMA, and Army are now out in the field. But many areas are still not accessible because of the water.
What Pakistan needs is humanitarian aid, and a lot of it. The UAE sent 3,000 tons of food supplies. The United States pledged $1 million. China sent 25,000 tents. The UK announced $1.7 million. And the European Union, $1.8 million. Besides this, Turkey and Qatar have also sent supplies to Pakistan. Almost 500,000 Pakistanis are living in shelters. You can imagine what the facilities are like. No sanitation, no drinking water, and a daily hustle for food.
We don't have drinking water. All the pipes have been destroyed. An electric motor is also broken down. Nothing is left. What should I do? My children are facing hunger and the scorching sun.
People send relief goods here, but the distribution is not well organized at all. There are routine shuffles here and people have to fight to get some food.
Pakistan is a prime example of the looming climate crisis. The country was never an industrial hub. It makes up just 0.4% of global emissions. Yet, it is feeling the effect of climate change.
It's time for the big emitters to review their policies. We have crossed what is clearly, we've crossed a threshold, not just Pakistan, but many countries. The global climate has crossed a threshold earlier than expected. And we are the ground zero as the tipping point happens.
Pakistan's leaders are not entirely faultless. The country experienced a similar case of flooding in 2010. Nearly 2,000 people died. So ideally, they should have been better prepared this time. Maybe built better drainage systems or halted construction near riverbeds. But Pakistan's leaders were busy with other things. South Asia Bureau, WION World is One.
Bhutan is deploying a UN peacekeeping mission for the first time. They are sending 130 soldiers to the Central African Republic. The contingent met the Bhutanese king before heading for deployment. Why is tiny Bhutan contributing to UN peacekeeping? How does it help their soft power ambitions? Our next report tells you.
The Royal Army is the pride of Bhutan. They are commanded by the king himself. Their mission? To protect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Bhutan. But now, their mission is expanding. Bhutan is now working towards global peace. This contingent is here to visit the king. Around 180 soldiers in total. They are not just members of the Royal Bhutan Army. They are also United Nations peacekeepers. They will be part of a light quick reaction force. Their destination, the Central African Republic. The CAR has been at civil war since 2012. Ethnic armed groups, foreign mercenaries, all kinds of shadowy groups are fighting there. 180 Bhutanese soldiers will soon arrive in the Central African Republic. This is the conflict zone. Their job? What the United Nations calls Integrated Stabilization Mission. Now, why is this mission important for Bhutan? Because it is their first peacekeeping mission. Bhutan officially started participating in the United Nations peacekeeping missions back in 2014. But that was limited. A few police officers, a handful of observers, that's it. But this is a fully fledged contingent. First, Bhutan sent a recce team to the Central African Republic. It assessed the security situation there. Also, the tasks assigned to the Bhutanese forces. Now, it's time for deployment. The King of Bhutan granted the contingent an audience before they deployed. He called it a new milestone in Bhutan's development. He said Bhutan was now contributing to world peace. Now 180 soldiers may not seem like much, but for Bhutan, it's a huge achievement. This is a country where the total population is just shy of 800,000, where progress is measured in happiness. For that, Bhutan to participate in peacekeeping is a huge stride forward. South Asia Bureau, WION, Wild is One.
Have you wondered how deep the ocean is? What creatures lurk beneath the surface of the Emerald Seas? A research mission in the Maldives is trying to find out. They are going 1,000 meters below the sea level. Their aim? To find the link between shallow and deep waters, to find out where each marine organism thrives. Their finding could be key for the island nation affected by climate change.
The Maldives, a honeymoon paradise known for its island resorts, beautiful beaches and crystal clear waters. But what lies beneath the waves, deep below the shallows where scuba divers swim? A new scientific expedition aims to answer that question. It is descending further than anyone has ever been here before. In a joint operation between the Maldivian government and UK Marine Research Institute Nectin, a research ship has set sail on for 35 days. The team of scientists on board will visit 8 different locations to explore the depths of the sea. Oliver Steeds, chief executive of Nectin, says that the research will help prepare the ocean nation for a future under threat.
The Maldives is on the front line of the climate crisis, and how the ocean changes is going to dramatically affect their future. And we've been asked by the government of the Maldives to go and work with them and on their behalf to do the first systematic survey from the surface down to about 1,000 meters.
Research vessel Odessi will transport the team around the Maldives. This is a country made up of almost 1,200 islands scattered across 90,000 square kilometers of ocean. The ship has undergone sea trials off the coast of Spain in preparation for its voyage. Scientists will descend as far as 1,000 meters in submersible vehicles. The snubs must be able to withstand enormous forces. For every 10 meters they go, pressure increases by 1 atmosphere. So at 1,000 meters, the pressure is more than 100 times greater than at the surface. The submersibles are just one piece of technology the expedition will call upon to explore the underwater world.
Robots that can sample. We've got a suite of different camera systems for survey. We've got multi-beams so we can map the seabed. We've got landers and BROVs, baited underwater remote sensors and systems that can document life at different depths across the oceans.
The Maldives is made up of 26 ring-like atolls. The shallow waters around its many islands hold thousands of species of marine life such as tuna, sharks, sea turtles and eels. But this exploration wants to shed light on the murkier depths.
There is very little known about what lives in the Maldives Ocean beneath 30 meters. We've got a bit of an understanding in those shallow waters where we can access those depths with scuba, but beneath that, no one really has a clue what's going on.
10 Maldivian scientists will lead the first 30 descendants in submersible vehicles. They will be the first to discover what lives in a habitat that's central to their lives. The country's president says more than 70% of Maldivians rely on the ocean for their livelihood.
I think it's something that's like intrinsic, something I can't really be taken apart from. Everything I do, like everything's connected to it. You're kind of born into the ocean. It's part of your blood as a Maldivian.
Amir is a coral expert who spent her career exploring her nation's reefs, but now she's looking forward to seeing even more of the ocean, finding answers to questions that have long puzzled her.
You can see the silhouettes, you can see like structures forming there, but you don't know what it is exactly down there. You can make your best guesses, but you don't know.
The link between shallow and deep water is at the heart of the coming weeks of exploration. By understanding what species live in which locations, it's hoped that more can be done to protect the island nation. Climate change is a significant threat. The Maldives stands at an average of 1.5 meters above sea level. So rising sea level could mean island after island is eventually engulfed and lost to the ocean. A better understanding of marine life will help the government develop policies to protect at least 20% of this marine habitat. South Asia Bureau, WION World is One.
The Bagram Base was once the symbol of American power in Afghanistan. It housed tens of thousands of soldiers and contractors. It also supported the local economy in the town of Bagram. Since the foreign soldiers left, that has changed. Most of the shops in Bagram have been forced to shut down. The shopkeepers fondly remember a time when their business was booming during the U.S. occupation. Our next report tells you more.
It was once a potent symbol of American power in Afghanistan, the Bagram military base. Inside, it was almost like a sprawling township, an airstrip, a notorious prison house, and a residential complex. At the height of its power, Bagram housed tens of thousands of soldiers and contractors. It had gyms, cinema halls, even swimming pools. But on the 1st of July 2021, the Americans packed up and left. Overnight, Bagram collapsed. Nowhere is that collapse more evident than here, the town of Bagram near the base. During the US occupation, it was a thriving commercial center. Today, it is nearly deserted. Just 80,000 people remain in the town. Shuttered shops line the streets of the main market. Those still open struggle to find customers.
We used to have customers until 9 p.m. Now we're closing our shop at the time of evening prayers. We open the shop by 8 in the morning, when previously we would open it after the morning prayers, because the people used to buy cream and other things for their breakfast. Now, a bag of flour is $30, so how could they have cream and breakfast?
Ghani Ullah Hakimi has been a baker here for 10 years. He saw the better part of American presence in Bagram. Among the dozens of shops that sent supplies to the airbase. Today, his shop is almost empty. Just him and a pile of unsold flatbreads.
People used to go to work. The market was too crowded and the market was busy. If I see it right, the boom years at the market were because of the airbase. But the airbase is not there. It doesn't have workers anymore. That is why the businesses are gone.
So who controls the airbase now? Until August last year, the Afghan government held on to it. Then the Taliban took over. The new occupants could not be more different from their predecessors. Western troops would buy a ton of supplies from the market, from food to equipment to gadgets. The Taliban fighters, they couldn't, even if they wanted to.
Previously, there was business here. About 30 countries were here. People had money, so businesses were here. Now, aid is not coming. The Islamic Emirate only generates revenues from Afghanistan. Nothing is coming from other countries. Business has stopped. Poverty has reached its most extreme level.
The Americans left behind a lot of scrap when they pulled out, like gym equipment, vehicle tires, and electronic appliances. For a couple of months, those scraps fueled the Bagram economy. Used goods shops were doing reasonably well. Now, even they have shut down.
Those shops in the distance were mostly built by people for the daily laborers who used to work here on this square and needed a place to stay for the night. Now those people have gone and the shops have also closed.
Many have fled the town. They used to work for the American forces in Bagram Air Base. Now they fear reprisals from the Taliban. The new regime did promise amnesty for Afghans who were on America's payroll, but few are taking the chance. They fled Bagram when the Taliban moved in. This town is symbolic of Afghanistan's collapse. The Western occupation wasn't just a military operation here. It was also a source of income for the locals, a source that disappeared overnight. South Asia Bureau, WION World is One.
Nepal is facing a nationwide nuisance. Guess what it is? TikTokers. They are destroying agricultural fields and ruining pilgrimages. All that for the perfect shot on social media. Nepalese authorities are now banning TikTok from public places. They are punishing TikTokers for disrupting normal life.
This woman is chasing pests away from her field. Confused? Well, you should be. These are the new pests in Nepal's chamomile tea fields, TikTokers. You can see why they like the location. The fields look beautiful on camera. But after the shoot, not so much. The TikTokers don't just film in the fields, they destroy them. They stamp on valuable crop, resulting in major losses. $20,000 according to one farmer. They do try to shoo the TikTokers away, but like real pests, they're adamant. They won't leave unless they have the money shot. Farming is key to Nepal's economy. It employs 66% of the country's population, also makes up 33% of the GDP. Crops like chamomile tea are the big money pullers. Wellness enthusiasts love a cup in the morning. The market for chamomile could top $412 billion by 2025. So these TikTokers are stamping on money, a lot of money. Nepalese authorities are aware of the problem. They are banning TikTokers from public places, especially sacred locations. Now you can see prominent boards in front of temples and stupas. All of them have the same message: no TikToks. A random search on the app will tell you what the problem is. It's a nuisance. TikTokers use these iconic backdrops to get more followers, maybe go viral. But the downside? A lot of disturbance for the people. They have to wait around while the influencers pose, dance, or break into a song. TikTok may be one of the world's most popular apps, but in Nepal, it's a distraction. A pest in the field, a nuisance at the temples. South Asia Bureau, WION World is One.
That's all we have for you on this episode of South Asia Diary. We'll be back next week with a brand new lineup of stories. Until then, stay safe. I am Mariam Wardak, and you are watching WION World is One.